The axis tick labels and the axis labels that MATLAB exported got all pixelated. You can see how much rougher they are than the beautiful text that Illustrator has for our fault layer. So we're going to have to get rid of those and replace them with some new ones. And while we're at it, we're going to go ahead and put them in a more intelligent manner. Here, 0 on this is right in the middle of the model, which is fine for designing a model. But since this earthquake starts here on the left side of Cajon Pass, I think it would be better if our 0 point was right there and marched along to the right. So we'll go ahead and we'll start creating a text box right underneath this 60, and we'll call that one 0. And I'll click off and get my black arrow again. That's too small, so let's go ahead and use the up size here in our character to get the font size bigger. And I'll click on the paragraph tab and center it, and that all looks good. But now I'm going to need to add 20, 40, 60, and so on. So I'm going to make a copy of that. Now, rather than doing that same process again with the text box and changing the font size and all of that, I'm going to show you a shortcut. So take your mouse and move it on top of the 0. Now, on your keyboard, hold down the Option key or the Alt key, depending upon whether you're on a Mac or a PC. And you can see that the mouse changes to have a little black arrow and a little white arrow, showing that I'm going to make a duplicate. When I click and drag, I now have two copies. There's the original 0 and the new one that I'm holding. And I can move that right here under the 40. But before I drop it down, I'm actually going to take my other finger, and push the Shift key on my keyboard. And what that's going to do is it's going to make it so that I am locked in place so that I'm not going up or down at all. I'm only going left and right. And that way I can keep things lined up exactly on the same horizontal line, and I can just drop that right below the 40. Double click on it to change the text and make that 20. Click away, get my black arrow again, hold down Option, click, drag, hold down Shift to keep it there, and 40, and I can keep going. Because all my labels are a separate piece of information, I probably should have been smarter and put them on their own separate layer. Let's do that now. Let's go up to the layers, add a new layer, call this one Labels, and quickly select all of our new labels that we want here. And then see that little red square that's in the, I'm currently have those in the faults layer, but if I click and drag them up, they'll be in the labels layer. And that way I can look at them just by themselves, or with the faults layer, or with the whole picture. This becomes important because I still have my old labels there, and I want to get rid of those. So let's first hide our existing ones. And the way that we're going to get rid of our old ones is we're actually going to go into our background, unlock it temporarily, and we're going to go ahead and just grab a rectangle tool from our tools there, and go ahead and draw a rectangle. It's currently black, but you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to go over to the colors here, and you can see that I've got clear, black, and white are hot linked in here as quick ones to do. I'm just going to make a white box there, and it has a transparent frame, so that should be good. And I'm going to just go ahead and take that. I'm going to do another one over along the vertical axis here. I'll cover up the label up on the top, and do the same thing over here on the right side, such that now we have our new labels ready to move into position. So let's go ahead and lock up our background layer by clicking that lock there, lock up our faults, and just go ahead and select these things here. Figure out, let's see, the 0 point's going to be right here around Cajon Pass. Move it down so that it's below our map. There we go, and we can quickly add another label right here that's labeled distance along the fault in kilometers. There's one more thing I want to do. I wasn't very careful when I put these labels down to make sure that they were equally spaced. And that's okay, because Illustrator can help me do that really fast. I just select them all, and then in my Align tool, if you don't have that open already, you can go to Window, Align right here. The Align tool, I'm going to choose this one that's going to be distributing the centers of these so that they're equally distributed. But first I need to make sure that I switch to make sure that I am aligning to selection. So I have those things that are selected. I'm going to hit this button right here, and now they moved a tiny little bit so that they're exactly equally spaced, and that's perfect for me.